Hey, good morning, everybody. It's about 5 to 11. I'm quite late, and I do apologize for that. It's Erev Gimel Tammuz. It's Beis Tammuz Tov Shin Pei, and we're learning the last shiur on the Maim V'Daber Elikim. It's called Advarim Ha'el Leimer and Echad Hashem Elokecha from Tov Shin Yud Gimel. This is our fifth shiur. 5 shurim on a Maimid is a lot, and I probably could have crunched it. I could have done it quicker. But it's a good maimed, and it was a good learn. It was a really good learn. What did this maimed tell us? It's the classic question. First of all, we already had the Torah before the Torah was given, so what's the Chiddush of Matan Torah? And second of all, what is the meaning of the word Leimer? V'Daber Elikim is called Advarim Ha'el. Elikim spoke all of these words Leimer. Now, normally Leimer would mean to repeat to somebody else, but by Matan Torah you cannot say that because every Jew was there. Moreover, it says in Sfarim that every Jew from all generations were there. So how can you say Leimer if all the Yidden of all days were already there and they heard Aseres Adibis? Who are you repeating it to? So there are a number of answers to this question, in different Maimorim, of course. This Maimer says that the Chiddush of Matan Torah was Asias. Before Matan Torah, there was the ideas of Torah. They were not the words of Torah. When the Eibusher gave us the Torah, he gave us the words of Torah. The letters and words of Torah. And yesterday, Deb explained to us that the letters and words of Torah allow the Torah to become infinite. And we had a lot of this. We learned the Maimer. And we talked a lot about Dibur. The Chiddush of Dibur, the Pratim of Dibur. And the deepest thing in a Dibur is this idea of a Nefesh Atzma V'Leia Oisius. The Yetzam HaNeshama is filled with letters. And in yesterday's class, I learned with you pages Kuf Ayin Aleph, Kuf Ayin and Kuf Ayin Aleph, Perek Daled. And I told you a pshat. I stand by my pshat, although l'chayr it's not said explicitly in the Maimer. I believe it's rather implicit in the Maimer. The pshat is that when you say the right thing with the wrong words, it's communicated in a limited way. When you say the right thing with the right words, you communicate the infinity of it. And when the Eibusher gave us the Torah, he gave us the words. The Oisius HaTorah, not Stamazei, the Yonim of Torah, we use Oisius of Las to communicate it, but the right words to hold the Torah, and through this the Beligvul of the Torah emerges, and when the Beligvul of the Torah emerges, then you make a Dira Leis Barach, but Tachtonim you transform the Gashmi. In other words, in this Maimer, if I understood it correctly, the two things, this Maimer, if I understood it correctly. Before the Eibusher gave us the Torah was already infinite. After the Eibusher gave us the Torah, it was the same infinite. But before the Eibusher gave us the Torah, because we didn't have the right words, we didn't have the infinite of the Torah, we had only had the finite of the Torah. When the Eibusher gave us the Oisius HaTorah, now we can say the Torah in Lashon Torah, in Oisius HaTorah. So the infinity of Torah can emerge, and when the infinity of Torah emerges, then it becomes possible to make a Dira Leis Barach B'Tachtonim. This was the discussion that we had yesterday. Now the Rebbe moves on to another thing. And that is the idea of Torah being Gabira M'Mayla Lamata. It's the last shiur on the Maimer. That Torah elevates the world, dafka from outside of the world. And of course, the Rebbe is going to make the point that there's an argument that can be made, a good argument that can be made, that perhaps Tefillah is better than Torah, because Tefillah is Aveda B'Keich Atzmei, it's M'Mata L'Mayla, and Torah is from outside of the world. And the Rebbe is going to say, no, it has to be Torah. Why does it have to be Torah? Because only Torah is Beligvul, is Ein Safe, and it can affect a birur, a correction, a clarity, a refinement that's also infinite. So now we begin Perek Hey, and we read inside. The question remains, Mahu Hatam, what is the reason that the clarity and refinement of the material needs to be dafke through bringing down Torah? Says the Rebbe, which is bringing down a light, which has no relativism to the creation. If you have to correct the physical world, shouldn't you use a worldly means, which means your own avodah? Here, we're bringing something from outside of the world, namely, the infinite wisdom of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which has now become available to us in this world. Because at Matan Torah, the Eibusher gave us the Leimer. The Eibusher gave us the ACAs. Why is this the only way to be Mevarer Gashmis? The argument can be made, wouldn't it be better if the world would achieve its elevation? And the Gashmi would make a Kelat Elokus from the bottom up. By a light which is relative to creations. In other words, in a means, in a medium, which in effect is Aveda B'Keach Atzmeinu. We're doing it on our own. That's the Kasha. Teda comes from the Eibishter to the world. And Teda is the infinity of the Eibishter which is brought into the world. Even though the concepts are limited, and our understanding of those concepts is certainly limited, but in those concepts you have Seichel, and you have Eid, and you have all the holiness, all the different levels of Teda, Asies, and Tagim, and Nekudis, and Taimim. So Teda has so many layers and dimensions, and ultimately it adds up to an infinity, to a Bligavol, to an Ein Sof. And not everybody is able to experience the Ein Sof of Teda. But we all have a shaychas of the Ein Sof of Teda, no matter how much or how little of the Teda we learn. And through this Ein Sof, we mavaded the world. And the question is, wouldn't it be better if we mavaded the world with our own koiches, without the Eibishter's help, without the Eira Teda? And I guess you could use the word tefillah, our own Aveda B'Keach Atzmeinu. You know, the Rebbe answers the question. There are two ways that we bring birur, that means clarity, to the world. When one brings clarity to the world, starting from the world's perspective, which is bringing clarity to the world step by step, gradually, which is the clarity which is achieved through avodah, in other words, through davening. And then, of course, there's there's a clarity brought to the world which comes from the top down. By bringing down a higher light, which is altogether beyond the measure of the creations. Shaydei, that when you use an infinite light that comes from outside the world to create a correction and a clarity in the world, says the Rebbe, the creation is transformed spontaneously, instantaneously and spontaneously. This is the clarity which Teda accomplishes. And the Rebbe says, this is why you have to have Teda. Because only Teda has this infinite power that's from outside of the world to transform the world completely and instantaneously. And the Rebbe connected to a Mishnah Masechta Ksubis. Now I'm going to digress for a moment and talk about an uncomfortable subject, but I do want to talk about it because I think the Rebbe would want me to talk about it. The Frierdiker Rebbe had one grandson who, as we know, fought a Milchama with the Rebbe over the Sfarim. And even though he was the closest thing to the Rebbe, he was the furthest thing from Lubavitch, unfortunately. And he got married right after Shavuos this year, Toshin Yud Gimel. The Rebbe did not go to his wedding because he was told not to come. So he didn't come. And because the Rebbe didn't come, the Rebbetzin didn't go. And because the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin didn't go to the only wedding of the Frierdiker Rebbe's HaMishpacha, most of the Chassidim didn't go. The Rashag, who by this point was already the Rebbe's Chassid, sat by the Fabrengens, broken like a cheras anish, but he was really upset. Rabbi Yelkan describes in his Rishimis, Rabbi Yel was still a bocher, how broken the Rashag was that Shavuos, Toshin Yud Gimel, because he knew the Rebbe was not going to participate in the wedding of his Ben Yechideh, and it bothered him. And he also knew that he was helpless to do anything about it. During the Fabrengen, there were private exchanges between the Rebbe and the Rashag. The Rebbe said to the Rashag two things that are of note. One of them was, Du bist doch malvalbel alle mesholim in Chassidus, he told him. Chassidus has a marshal that the greatest simcha is simchas b'nei yechidah. The greatest joy by a father is the joy of the marrying of his only son. He was his only son, he was a ben yachid. And he was so upset. And the Rebbe said, Du bist malvalbel alle mesholim in Chassidus, simchas b'nei yechidah. And the other thing he told them was, it's the simcha of the Rebbe. The Rebbe. Even though the Rebbe is your father-in-law and the grandfather of the Chassan, it's the Rebbe. And the Rebbe says simcha darf man sich freien. So those were two things the Rebbe told him privately. During the Fabrengen, the Rebbe spoke several siches about Chasana. I didn't look it up, but I'm sure you can find it in the Teres Menachem. And the Rashag actually asked the Rebbe to be Magia the siches for the occasion of the Simcha. I don't remember whether the Rebbe acquiesced or not, but Rabbi Yel writes all this, that the Rebbe spoke several sichas on that Shavuos about Chasaneh, and the Rashag asked the Rebbe to edit the sichas. Here in the middle of the Maimed, the Rebbe threw in Chasana, here too. In other words, the next 20 lines, they add a new aspect to the Maimed, but it's really not necessary. The Rebbe is putting it in. It's a Mishnah Masechta Ksubas, and it's based on a shtickle Likutei that explains this Mishnah Masechta Ksubas. And the Rebbe threw it in because it fits into these two anyanim of Bira that we spoke about. Bira Mil Mata Lamaila, which is limited but from the person. Bira Mil Maila Lamata, which is infinite but from the Keich that the Eibishter gave, and it connects it to the Machlekes B'Shamei Abeis Hillel about Ketzat Meraktim Afnei HaKala. So let's read. The Mishnah says in Masechta Ksubas, Ketzat Meraktim Afnei HaKala, how do you dance in front of a Kala? B'Shamei Yemim Kala Kamei Shehi, that you dance in front of a Kala as she is. You don't decorate her. Just what she is, that's what you dance in front of. That you have to beautify the Kala. Make it beautiful. So what's the machlekes in Chassidus? What's the machlekes b'Shamei and b'Hil? In other words, in the mitzvah of Merak Tafnei HaKala, what's this machlekes? So the Rebbe says like this. It's connected to these two Eifani Bira. Kala, he Knesset Yisrael. Kala goes on Yid. The meaning of the words, how do you dance in front of a Kala? How do you bring joy to the collective Jew, to all of us as a unity? In B'Shamai says Kala Kamei that the joy that's brought to the Kala, that means the collective Jew, is as she is. Ki Shamoy. The word Shama means to be precise, to measure exactly. Tzimtzum, Gvura. He evaluates everything exactly what it is and does not allow for any exaggeration and for any excess. That's what his opinion is. The opinion of Beis Shammai is Kala Kamei that the Simcha is based on who the Kala is. The level that the person is on, or that the collective Jew is on collectively. That's how much they're given from above. That's a bit from the bottom up. You give Yidden what they deserve. Basil disagrees. He says, no, you dance in front of the Kala as if she's beautiful and she's gracious. She's every mile. Kihil is Melashon Behilinated. The meaning of the word Hil is to shine light. Machen lichtig. Shahu in Gilead Mila Lamata, which connotes that you bring a light into the world. You bring a light to the Kala, and then the Kala becomes more than she is naturally. That's why the Kala must be beautiful and gracious. You don't acknowledge, you don't reckon with what that person is, what the collective Jew is, what that Kala is. She may be a cripple, and she may even be blind. But when you dance in front of the Kala, you ignore what she is and you celebrate the ideal person, so to speak, the Eibishter. You bring a light from out of the world into the world. Says the Rebbe in Yiddish, she's no longer a cripple, or for the moment she's not a cripple. She's no longer blind, or for the moment she's not blind. When you bring this light into the world, which is from outside of the world, I read the same line again. She becomes pretty and gracious. The chasuda is shem anifel. The meaning of the word chasuda is a word that connotes the effect of chesed. And the effect of chasuda, she becomes gracious, she becomes of kindness. Because the kindness comes to her from heaven, and she becomes a gracious girl, a gracious Kala, a Kala of great kindness, because of the fact that that's how they were meraked in front of her. Says the Rebbe, that's the clarity of Teira. You bring in a higher light, which is beyond the measure of the creation, and the physical is refined, above what it is. And this is the answer to the kasha. Why do you use Teira to be mavad in the world? Why is Teira being used? To make a dira leis barach b'tachtenim. Why not use world itself? We should make this world Hakadosh Baruch using our own koyches. And the answer is because it's an infinite koyach that comes from outside of the world, that spontaneously and instantaneously transforms the world. And we can't do this at all in a row. And the Rebbe continues, but explains another pasuk, yachzik b'ma'uzi, oz yachzik b'ma'uzi. Yaseh shalom li, shalom yaseh li. At that point, Yachzik, hold on to Ma'uzi, my fortress. Yaseh shalom li, he'll make peace to me. Shalom Yasali, peace he will make to me. So on this obscure pasuk in Yeshaya, Amar Chazal, it says in Gemara, when one learns Teda for the sake of the Teda, Yachzik b'ma'uzi, Meisim Shalom b'pamalya shalmaylo, or b'pamalya shalmata. You bring peace to the heavenly entourage and to the lower entourage. In other words, Yaseh Shalom li is Shalom b'pamalya shalmayla, and Shalom ma'ya talmata, and is Shalom Yaseh li is Shalom b'pamalya shalmata. And the basis for these two Shaloms is Teda, Yachzik b'ma'uzi. And again, the Rebbe's argument is going to be that the beater of the world has to happen through Teda, which is from outside of the world. But Inyam is that the Pshat is who bringing peace to the heavenly entourage means Hamshocha ba'atzilus, to bring godly light into Atzilus, which makes Atzilus peaceful. Umeisim shalom b'pamalya shalmata, who bringing peace to the lower entourage, is Hamshocha debiyah, bringing peace to the lower worlds as well. So it's not either or, it's both. And both of them are the Shalom b'pamalya shalmayla and even the Shalom b'pamalya shalmata are both called Shalom. Shalom means they come from Teda, outside of the world. Because in order to have an infinite Kayach HaBidur, it has to come from outside of the world. The Enix, if he brings a pasuk, Nasa Adam B'Tzalmeinu Kid Museinu. Now yesterday in the Shir I mentioned Nasa Adam B'Tzalmeinu Kid Museinu as a means of explaining the difference between speaking Teda in Asius of Las, the Museinu, or speaking Teda in the Asius for which Teda has been made. Salmeinu, here we use it a little bit differently. The Almighty said, let us make man in our form and our image. And Salmeinu is called Tzura Atzmis, and Museinu is called Tzura Mitzura. So the Rebbe touches right away. Salmeinu is Atzilus. Ud Museinu hu biyah, u b'shnei tzarech as the Shalom. Both of these realities need an addition of peace. Shalom b'Atzilus. Why? You have to have Shalom and Atzilus. L'chayr Abtil is such a wonderful place. And it's naturally peaceful. Even though the world of Atzilus, first of all, godliness is revealed. And second of all, the nature of the revelation of godliness in Atzilus is that it creates a unity. All the aspects of Atzilus are joined together, including the Kalim. So why do you have to have Shalom? It says that Atzilus is Taka Giliam Husav Elikus, but it's a Giliam Husav Adav Elikus, and the reality of Atzilus, which is perfect and peaceful on the one hand, is limited on the other. It's so limited that it's Shalei Be'erach Klal to the worlds that are higher than Atzilus. In other words, if Atzilus is Gili of the Mahus of Ha'ara Vein Seif, Kesef, which is higher than Atzilus, is Gili of the Mahus of the Etzma Vein Seif, and the distance between the Mahus of Etzem and the Mahus of Ha'ara is great. There's a lot. Atzilus Vasiya Shavim, compared to Eidin Seif, Atzilus and Asiyah are equal. Even Atzilus needs to have peace added to its form from higher than Atzilus. It says that it's the concept of peace. Shu was Chabas, which joins everything together. And as Chabas Hanyar Atzilus. This that's higher than Atzilus and Atzilus joined together. And again, higher than Atzilus is the Gili of Etzem of Elikus. In Atzilus is the Gili of Ha'ara of Elikus. And when you join Atzilus with Lamaylam and Atzilus, Atzilus also has that Mailam. And he continues, you have to also bring peace in the lower three worlds. Biyah is not naturally a unified world. There's a disparateness. The Eid is separate, the Kalim are separate. Even though there's a little bit of Elikus in Biyah on a certain level, there's not a unity in all of Biyah, it's disparate, it's separate. The Eid and the Keli are not one. So certainly, you have to bring down peace into Biyah, at least from Atzilus. Through Avodah, through Tein and Mitzvahs, even the lower three worlds will be and that's the Pshat, Shalom b'pamalya shalmaylo, which sets up the Shalom b'pamalya shalmata. And in both cases, coming from the Madrega of Shalom is coming from outside of the world, from Ninyan Teda, because only Teda, that's infinite, has this possibility. Excuse me. And we read on. V'ha'inyin bazeh. Now, of course, the Rebbe is using a lot of examples. But all of the examples are speaking to one thing. You have to use Torah for the Mavada of the world, because Torah comes from outside of the world. That's an infinite power. And when you bring it into the world, the peace, the transformation is instantaneous and spontaneous. When he brings over here the two Madregas of Shalom, that doesn't correspond to the two of Hanam Abir. Both in Yonam of Shalom are the beaters through Torah, never then in Atzilus and the lower worlds. And he continues, there's another corollary for the idea of Shalom B'Maya Shalmaila and Shalom B'Maya Shalmata, and that both of them require Eira Teda, which is from outside of the world. It says in the Pasuk, Kamayim Aponim Laponim, as water reflects the face that looks into it, Kei Lev Ha'adam Al Adam, so to the heart of man reflects the man that looks at him. So when you look into a mirror, you see yourself. When you look at another person, you see yourself. They're going to feel towards you as you feel towards them. That's the pshat. Kain Lev Ha'adam Al Adam, one human being looks at another human being, looks at him with love and tenderness. The other human being reflects it, mirrors it. That's the pshat. However, this is only the Gashmias of it, the psychology of it. What's the Chasidus of it? That the Eibishter is Adam. Kemayim Aponim Leponim Kain Lev Ha'adam, Adam Ha'elyon, El Ha'adam Ha'adam Ha'tach. The Eibishter looks at us in a certain way and we mirror it back. But which us are we talking about? Are we talking about us and Bia, and the Eibishter looks into us and Bria, and then we mirror that back to him? Or we're talking about the us and Atzilus, and the Eibishter is even higher than Atzilus, and he looks at us and we mirror that back to him. And those two ideas of Kain Lev Adam Al Adam, whether it's Adam Elyon and Adam Atach, or for lack of words, Adam Akadman and Adam Elyon, that's the two pshatim in Kain Lev Adam Al Adam, which is the two pshatim in Pamaya Shalom B'Pamaya Shalmaila and Shalom B'Pamaya Shalmat. The Hinik of the Pasuk says, and by the way, you have bigger Riches in Chsidis and in Ayin Beis, look in footnote 61, that explains the whole sugya of Kamayim Aponim Leponim. Kamayim Aponim Leponim, as water reflects the face, Kain Lev Adam Al Adam, the heart of a man, reflects the face of the man who looks at him. V'yash B'Zeh Beis Pirush, there's two interpretations of these words. Forgive me, I'm going to stand up, okay? I'm falling asleep, which isn't good. So let's stand up, which is good. There's two interpretations of the words. Pirush ha'alef, the first definition is Shalev ha'adam el ha'adam hainu me'adam ha'tach and l'adam ha'elyon. The lower man, that means the man in Asiya, looks at the man above, which is the man of Atzilus. V'hu yin ha'la mibyala Atzilus, that's from the lower worlds to Atzilus. And then, of course, we look at Adam Ha'elyon, and Adam Ha'elyon looks back at us. Now, if we look at Adam Ha'elyon, and Adam Ha'elyon looks back at us, it's like two human beings meeting. But you can't exactly call Atzilus human, but it's still the tziyud of Adam, and there's the normal law of interaction. If you treat a person a certain way, they're going to treat you the same way, reciprocally. So there's an inyan of Kamayim, Aponim Leponim, Kain Lev Adam Al Adam. We look at Elokus, and Elokus looks back at us, because we're both Adam. But then there's Pirush HaBeis, and this is much more controversial. In short, the higher idea of Kain Lev Adam Al Adam means that Atzilus is looking at Ein Seif. The problem with Atzilus looking at Ein Seif is Ma'od, it's not Adam. The principle of Kamayim Aponim Leponim Kain Lev Adam Al Adam is a logical principle. The logic is you're a human, the other guy is human, you meet on a human level, that's the constant, that's what you share, and the other person is going to react to you the way you disposed yourself to him. But when you're talking about Adam Ha'elyon and Adam Akadman, right? Atzilus and higher than Atzilus. Higher than Atzilus is no Caleb. Higher than Atzilus is a Pasha B'tachas Apshitus. So a seer looking at Atzilus is Adam looking at another. Adam Atach and Adam Ha'elyon. But Atzilus looking at Ein Seif, Adam Ha'elyon, and looking at Adam Akadman doesn't make any sense. Says the Rebbe, it doesn't matter. Because even though Ein Seif is Pashat and higher than Adam, it has the Shaychas to the Inyan of Adam. In other words, the oil was designed to be nitztayer and the tziyir Adam. There's a lot of my modern that talk about this sugya. Like I said, it starts off in Ayin Beis. I think it's Tazri and Tafresh Ayin Hey. It's based on Likud Torah, and see it in footnote 61 He's Metzayin to it. And of course, the Rebbe's Maimorim has this Kama Pamim, and the one that I'm remembering most distinctly, which I learned last year, and I taught last year, and I struggled with last year, and I'm still not happy, I'm not sure I taught it correctly last year, is Bishar Sha'Allah Meisha Lamorim. That Maimon speaks about Sfiras Agluyas, and Sfiras Agnuzas, this whole idea that in Pshitas there's a Hitztaitis, because the Pshitas are already a koyach for Hitztaitis from before, and therefore when the Mitzuya looks at the Pshitas is Mitztayir. And in this case, when Atzilus looks at Keser, or at Ein Seif, because Ein Seif has a predisposition to be formed by the Tzir of Adam, therefore the Adam Ha'elyon affects a form in Adam HaKatman, in Ein Seif. Okay? So there's two levels in Kamayim Aponim Laponim Kain Leiv Adam Al Adam. Either Asiya looks at Atzilus, Adam HaTachten to Adam and Adam Elyon looks back, down, or Atzilus looks to Ein Seif, and Ein Seif looks back to Atzilus, that Adam Ha'elyon looks to Lo Yadam or to Adam HaKadman, and it shines back. In other words, Ha'Allah Me'atzilus L'B'china Shalom Alam Atzilus, an ascent from Atzilus to above Atzilus. Shaydei Ze Nasam Shacham L'Mayla Me'atzilus B'Atzilus. It brings down a light from higher than Atzilus into Atzilus. So you have two concepts of Leiva Adam Al Adam. The same model. The Adam Atach looks at the Adam Elyon, and the Elyon reciprocates. The Shaila is only what the Elyon is. Is the Elyon Adam Ha'elyon, or is the Adam Lo Adam, which is Akadme? And in both cases, the Adam Atach looks at the Adam Ha'elyon, and the Adam Elyon reciprocates based on what the Adam Ha'elyon is. The idea of Torah, the idea of Shalom, the idea of Beligavo. And he says finally, Ayidei Yizchabes de L'Mayla Mi'atzilus and Matzilus. Yizchabes Atzilus and B'yas, since there's a connection between this world and Atzilus, and there's a connection between Atzilus and higher than Atzilus. Nasa Gambes Chabes de L'Mayla Mi'atzilus and B'yas, even what's higher than Atzilus can come into the lowest worlds. In other words, the Pamal Yeshal Maila comes into the place of the Pamal Yeshal Mat. The godliness, which is above Hishtalshalos, is brought down to the lowest levels of Hishtalshalos. In the lower world is shining and being drawn down. Even things that are above Atzilus. Says the Rebbe, however, this can't happen through davening, it happens after through Teda. The Kif and Shekolin and Isabos Teda, since the creation happens through Teda. Through Teda the light is brought down. Of course, L'cheda, he should say something much simpler. The Teda is believable, and therefore could bring a believable keich into this world, but he doesn't say that. He says Teda is the blueprint. And when you follow the blueprint, you bring Elokus into the world. And Vaseidid, or the order is Shetchila Nimshachar B'Atzilus. First, the light comes from higher than Atzilus. Into Atzilus, Shateidim, Mutzabin Lamal Atzilus V'Atzilus. Like it says, Neit Eite Eir Kasalmo, and the Noch, Nimshachar B'Atzilus, the light comes also to the lower three worlds. Like it says, V'Altras Shlim Adatonu, Teiras B'Atzilus Shlim Adatonu B'Biyah. So these are a lot of forms. It's really, that's what it is. It's forms. Shalom B'Pamayil Shalmailo, and Shalom B'Pamayil Shalmato. And Leiva Adam Al Adam, the two Taich and Leiva Adam Al Adam are all speaking about bringing Ein Seif from out of the world into the world. But the Nakuda is you need something from outside the world in order to elevate the world. And I'm going to interrupt. I'm going to leave the machine running. I'm sorry. I'm falling asleep. I need coffee. I'll be back in as few minutes as possible. Forgive me. Okay, Hineni, I'm back. Thank you for waiting. V'ha'inyan ba'avoida. The Rebbe said the following to us. Numero uno, point one. The beater of the world has to come from Teda. To elevate the world, to fix and transform the world has to come from Teda. Why from Teda? Because Teda is Bligvul. And of course, as we learned yesterday, the Bligvul of Teda requires Oisiyes Teda, which is one of the Chedushim of Matan Teda. But then the Rebbe says that in the Bligvul of Teda, which is Mavada, the world, there's two levels. Is it called Sholem Bepamalya Shal Mailo and Sholem Bepamalya Shal Mato. Or two Madreges and Kem Leva Adam El Adam. But there's a catch. The catch is that these two Birurim, of Sholem Bepamalya Shal Mailo and Sholem Bepamalya Shal Mato, and Leva Adam HaKadman and Leva Adam HaElyon and Leva Adam HaElyon and Leva Adam HaTachten, happen first the higher level, then the lower level. In other words, since it's not coming from Avodah, it's coming from heaven to earth, it's coming from the Eibishter. The approach is the Seder is Mo'mayla Lamata, first the higher level and then the lower level. So first, there's a Sholem which you bring into a world which is already Sholem, but it's Sholem Betzimtzum and you're adding a certain Esrachvus. And again, we can Meidach sein, what does mean to Meisiv sein Sholem and Atzilus, to Meisiv sein Achtas and Atzilus. And then it also comes into the lower worlds. And the same is also true in the cave Leva Adam Ala Adam. First, you're Mamshech Edin Seif from Lei Adam to Adam, and then that extra Edin Seif, which you're Mamshech Lei Adam to Adam, comes from Adam Elyon to Adam Atacht. So the Rebbe now continues and he says these words. The idea that Beklal, the beater has to happen through Teda. Because Teda's Beligavul has already been explained. But the fact that the beater that happens through Teda has two steps. First, Shalom B'Maya Shal Maila, Hamshaka from Lei Adam to Adam Elyon. And second, Shalom B'Maya Shal Mata, from Adam Elyon to Adam Atachten. This, the Rebbe says, I want to explain to you how it is in Avedis Hashem. And basically he's going to say it's the beater of the Nefesh HaLekis of the Nefesh HaBahamis. But in the Seder of first Nefesh HaLekis and then Nefesh HaBahamis. And you and I, those of you who know me, who learn from me, inside Chassidus at ORG and the Yeshiva, you know that I talk about this on occasion because the first place this appears, in my opinion, is in Tanya Perek Tes, Tanya chapter 9. Alter Rebbe talks about Avodah and the fight between the Nefesh HaLekis and the Nefesh HaBahamis. And the way he describes it is first the mind of the Nefesh HaLekis is inspired, then the heart of the Nefesh HaLekis is inspired, and then it spills over Molei V'Godesh from the heart of the Nefesh HaLekis into the heart of the Nefesh HaBahamis, and Bevad the Nefesh HaBahamis second. This is atypical because practically speaking, first you have to curb your dog and then it can become a mensch. First you have to deal with Nefesh HaBahamis and then you can deal with Nefesh HaLekis. That's a normal beater. It's a beater of Mulmata Lamayla. But our Maimon is speaking about a beater of Mulmata Lamata, a beater of Torah, and therefore this Maimon is going to speak in a way which is, in the way my brain works, in concert with what is written in Tanya Perek Tes, from the top down. First, the beater of the Nefesh HaLekis. Even though the Nefesh HaLekis needs no beater, just like Atzilus needs no Shalom. And then it's going to come from the Nefesh HaLekis to the Nefesh HaBahamis. Dihine. B'talmeinu kid museinu, on the top of this page, we already mentioned the two words Tzelem and Mus, and we linked them to Atzilus and Biyah. And Sholem B'Pamaya Shalmayla means adding Sholem to Tzelem. Sholem B'Pamaya Shalmata means adding the Sholem from Tzelem to Dmus. How do you explain Tzelem and Mus and Avodah? How do you explain Atzilus in the lower worlds? In Avodah, it's Nefesh HaLekis and Nefesh HaBahamis. Nefesh HaLekis is Tzelem. All three letters of the word Tzelem are connected to the Nefesh HaLekis. And of course, you have this in Likutei Teda, that the tzaddik melakech spiriyah. The letter tzaddik goes on the revealed faculties of the person, the three moichin and the six midas. And lamed mem, the lamed and the mem goes on the keches makifim. That means on the makif of chaya, which is the lamed, and the makif of yechida, which is the mem. And I believe that hemshach eter, the Rebbe speaks to this as well. Mir dachtzach that in the sugi of tzelem, it's a shtickle lavush. It's not mamish the koiches. It's a lavush to the koiches, but it's not on the Likutei Teda and Teitz. I think it's on Likutei Teda and Shlach, but I don't remember exactly. So there's no point in guessing when I'm guessing with an uncertainty. And the Nefesh HaBahamis is the Mus. Because Nefesh HaLekis is a Tzura Atzmis, right? Nefesh HaLekis is a copy of Elikus, like the word Tselem connotes, Tzura Atzmis. And Nefesh HaBahamis is a Tzura Mitzvah, it's an imprecise replica. It says the Rebbe, Ubishtei HaNefashis, in both Nefashis, including in the Nefesh HaLekis, Tzarech Li, as Inyan HaShalom, you have to add Shalom. And that's the Pshat, Meisim Shalom, Bepamalya, Shalmailo, which goes on the Nefesh HaLekis, and then Meisim Shalom B'Mata Shalmata, which goes on the Nefesh HaBahamis. In other words, just like before, Shalom B'Pamalya Shalmaila means to add the Lakus from higher than Atzilus to Atzilus, from La Yadam to Adam. And Shalom B'Pamalya Shalmata means to add a Lakus from Atzilus to the lower worlds, from the El Yad Adam Atachtin. Now it's Nefesh HaLekis and Nefesh HaBahamis. And now he explains it. Rabbi Paltiel said more specifically, Shalom B'Nefesh HaLekis, the Nefesh HaLekis needs peace. Now, why is something which is godly and pure and perfect and peaceful need peace? Notwithstanding the neshoma's level of pure. That v'gam k'meishi b'bechinas ata, but also ata yitzata ata nefachta be, even the neshama goes through a shtashlus of bria, yitzira, asiya. Nevertheless, yesh b'bechinas tehera, it still has a connection to its atzila's source. V'yaseidim is even more. Shesh b'bechinas v'ata meshama b'kirbi, which is l'malim b'bechinas tehera. The koyach to keep the neshama and the guf together comes from even higher than atzilas, which is called ata meshama b'kirbi, and this is also available to the conscious neshama. In other words, the difference between kedusha and klipa, everything comes from the Eibishter, but klipa is cut off from its source, and kedusha is connected to its source. And in this case, the nefesh HaLekis knows its source till atzilas and higher than atzilas. Which is why it says in the Tanya, even though the Nefesh HaBahamis may lead the person to sin, at the moment of sin, the Neshama, that means the Neshama which is in the Guf, and the Neshama at the level of Atzilus, and the Neshama at the level of higher than Atzilus is loyal to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So where is there room for improvement? If the Neshama is Teherahi and Meshama Rebekir, Mikomakam, nevertheless, there's an union of being Mesim Shalom and the Nefesh HaLekis. Since the neshama becomes a creation. Now, of course, this is a classic idea. It's a very classic idea. It's most unusual idea. Of course, he brings about a kemesh from the Mittel Rebbe and Tzemach Tzedek, but of course you have it in Samach Vov. That the neshama is called the Lakus Shanasa Nivra. The soul is godliness has become a creation. They're opposites. Because godliness means it reflects Hashem and it has no limits. It has no definition, no form. Creation is limited. Creation doesn't only mean it has a form, but the form is a container. It's a containment. I can't go out of my limitations. You can even use the word teva in the klipa sense of the word. So it's a lakus shenasa nivra. This is unique to the neshama. Nothing has this property except for the neshama. Teira and mitzvahs are a lakus. Malachim and nivrayim are nivra. In other words, one is totally bittul telakus and has no limitation. The other is totally limited in its klipa. The neshama is both. On the outside, it's nivra. On the inside, it's elikus. On the outside, the neshama seems limited and is limited, but it can always break out the limit and exceed it. And because it's free by itself to break out of its limit and exceed it, the limit is not a real limit. It's like a hagbolah etzenis. Or befrat, moreover, in addition to the neshama being elikus shanas and nivra, that even though on the inside it's elikus, on the outside it's nivra, there's another factor. It's lapshusa beguf and nefesh habahamis. This neshama, which is lakus shenasa nivra, goes into a body and an animal soul, which are mamish klip. So because of both of these factors, shayach ba'inyan shachasar ne'er, it's conceivable that the neshama should lack access to its own light. Because the only reason the animal can ever sin is mitzad chasar ne'er b'nefesh halakis, because the nefesh halakis is missing light. If the nefesh halakis comes into the nefesh habahamis with all of its oil, not only can't the nefesh halakis sin, the nefesh habahamis cannot sin either. So the nefesh habahamis is chasaron, is a symptom of the nefesh halakis chasaron, and therefore the nefesh halakis needs the inyan from shalom, needs the inyan from adding to it a higher inyan. The chisaron said this deficiency is sufficient because it's not godliness. Because godliness is the perfection and the wholesomeness of everything. Now this line is controversial. Now, it's very hard not to call the neshama the nefesh halakis alakus. It is alakus. It's two opposites, alakus shenasa nivra. When it says lefish eini b'bechinas alakus, what does that mean? Does it mean the nefesh habahamis eini b'bechinas alakus? I don't think so, because we know the nefesh habahamis is not alakus. We only know that the Nefesh HaBahamis wouldn't do an Aveda if the full Gil of Nefesh HaLakis was available to it. So L'chayra Eine Bechinas HaLakus goes to the Nefesh HaLakis. And that's a really radical thing to say, because we always know that the idea that Nefesh HaLakis is Nivra is a Lakus Shenasa Nivra. Like it says in Tanya Perek Vav, it's bottled B'Peil Mamish or B'Kayach. Even when it becomes a Nivra, it's bottled B'Kayach. So how is a neshama a nivra l'chayra, and even after neshama becomes a nivra, it continues to be a lakus? Why do they say ein bechinas lakus? And my only answer is it's not a lakus bagila. So these words, if it's ein bechinas lakus tzarichi and gadol, I'm not sure whether he's talking about the nefesh habahamis or the nefesh halakis. If he's talking about the nefesh habahamis, Michael Mashmalan. And also, what is it doing here? Doesn't make any sense. It belongs later. So I'm going to presume that this means ein bechinas lakus goes to the nefesh halakis. And the pshat any bechinas lakus means that since on the outside it's nivra, and the lakus is only on the inside, its surface is nivra, and therefore that's the source of the chasarin which spills over and allows for an aveda in the nefesh habahamis. So the nefesh halakis is godliness, but because A, it's a lakus shenasa nivra, B, it's mislabish in a guf, it needs tikkun, needs correction. And then he adds the words alakus shleimus of the kula. What do these words mean? Alakus is the perfection and wholesomeness and peacefulness of everything. I think this is the quote from the Avedis HaKedesh, right? Ein Sefer Shemusa de Kula Kshem Shekeche Bebilti Bal Gvul Kem Keche Begvul. So the meaning of the words Elakus Shleimusa de Kula means Elakus in Gvul, and this you don't have. The neshama comes into a guf, and we say that the way the neshama comes into the guf, the Elakus Shenas and Nivra. But in the nivra and in the guf, you don't see the elakus. In the nivra, the guf, you see guf and nivra. And the Rebbe is saying, if the neshama was takish l'musa de kula, that it's not just godliness on an infinite level, but it's godliness on a finite level, even the way it's nivra, you would see that it's elakus. Even the way it's mislabish on the guf, you would see that it's elakus. So I don't think the Rebbe means to say that we don't agree that elakus shenas and nivra is still elakus. But it means that Lakus Shenasa Nivra, the Lakus is not Behis Galus, which shows on an Inyan of Chesaron in the Lakus Shenasa Nivra, and that's why it needs to have Shalom B'Pamalia Shalmayla. Let's read a little bit further. Even the Nefesh Halakis needs peace added to it, which means the Hamshach Babachinas Etzem Anasham. To connect, to reveal in the Nefesh HaMelubash Baguf, the Yichidish HaBenefesh, and of course the Samach Vav, it says in Vayigash Namaches, that only when the Neshama comes into this world is the Etzem available, not in Gan Eden like it says Vayipach. Kifi Shemush Shash's B'Atzma Sein Tzev Baruch, the way it's one with Atzma Sein Tzev, and that allows that even the way the Neshama comes into the Guf, it should be B'His Galus Ha'ed, and therefore the Nefesh HaBahamis can't either sin. So Shol, B'Pamaya Shol Mailo, and Aveda means we have a Neshama, and the Neshama is a Lakus. But the lakus of the neshama is nasa nivra. The lakus of the neshama is b'medida v'agbala, and therefore there's a chesaron in it. That in it it's not going to be so bad, but the way it's going to spill over to the nefesh habahamis, it's going to be shaychas lechet lashon chesaron, or chesaron lashon chet kipshutei, and that's why you have to have oil to the nefesh halakis, to be mamshach etzem to the nefesh halakis, so that it should be his galus halakus, even the way the neshama is nivra, the way the neshama is in the guf. And then the Rebbe says the obvious thing, V'shalom b'nefesh habahamis, the animal soul certainly needs peace added to it. The animal soul does not only deficiencies, chesreinis, the nefesh can actually do an aveda actually, and that's why we have to add charm to the nefesh habahamis. Of course, you all know what it says in Zayah, nefesh kisechta tvoha, that even the level of nefesh, which is the lowest level of the five madregas, nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, chida, nefesh kisechta tvoha, doesn't make sense that the nefesh could do an aveda, because you're davik in alakus. In Tanya, it's brought to even the nefesh habahamis of a yid. Besides, it's teva. Leyuchal lava pi avay, like it says benegay to Bilam in the beginning of Perek Ches. Bilam is in Perek of Dalet, that the nefesh habahamis of a yid beteva can't do an aveda. But because of the halamas vestadim and because of other factors which are brought in the beginning of the second Perek of second Maimer of Quintus Amayon, the nefesh habahamis can do an aveda. So this shalom bepamaya shalmayla, you have to add to the godly soul a godliness which allows it to be revealed, even when it's the most limited and dark world. And shalom bepamaya shalmata, the godliness which comes to the animal soul, amzal poshet nish zindik. But then comes the point, vaseideru, the way it works. Shetchila tzarech lefal achibur, nefesh elkisem nefesh habahamis. First you join the nefesh elkis with the nefesh habahamis. Or to say it differently, first of all you bring shalom to the nefesh elkis. Then you bring together nefesh elkis, nefesh habahamis, like it says in the apostle. V'havta Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavecha b'chol nafshecha b'chol midecha, says in the Mishnah, b'chol levacha b'shnei yitzerech. So you take the love which starts in the godly soul, first in the godly soul, and then it spills over to the animal soul, like I mentioned from Tanya Perek Taz, that the animal soul also should love Hashem. First, the Nefesh HaLekis loves the Eibush, and the Nefesh HaBahamis loves as well. After you joined the Nefesh HaBahamis, you joined to the Nefesh HaBahamis what was added to the Nefesh HaLekis, right? What's Sholem Bepamalya Shal Maila? That you add to the Nefesh HaLekis, Etzem HaNeshama. What's Sholem Bepamalya Shal Mata? First, that you join the Nefesh HaLekis with the Nefesh HaBahamis, and second, that you join the Etzem of Nefesh HaLekis with the Nefesh HaBahamis. Shaydei, that through this, there shouldn't be possible, there should be no idea of sin and no union of deficiencies. Says the Rebbe, this is the end of the conversation. In other words, there's two parts to this conversation, but the nekud of the conversation is the bira has to happen from outside of the world, from Teda. Because Teda is the keicha beligavul, specifically when you bring it down with the help of Eisias HaTeda, Kemedubali Il V'chuli V'chuli, and then it elevates the world, it transforms the world and elevates the world and spontaneously and instantaneously. But the Seder is Momayla Lamata. First, you bring godliness to godly realms and you make them peaceful, which means even more godly, and then you bring godliness to less than godly realms, till the Gashmizdika world. So he concludes, the key, and Shateri believe Teda is infinite. It's above the creation altogether. It allows for the creation to achieve a level of purification. That's not defined by what that creation is. It's defined by what the Eibush did. It's transforming altogether. It's like we had in the previous Maimah, Bittul B'Mitzias. It's the same idea. And the Rebbe concludes, now that we spent an entire Maimah which talked about Eisias HaTeira and argued that Davke Eisias HaTeira revealed the beligvul of Teira, which is mavaded the world completely. This is why the Yidden said Nasa before Nishma. The Teira. When the Eibush gave us a Teira, he gave us the words, the Eisias HaTeira, which is true beligvul, the infinity. And I explained to you in the last class, this doesn't mean that the letters are beligvul, it means that the letters carry the beligvul. And I may be wrong about this, but this is how I'm teaching it to you. Says the Rebbe, when you bring the beligvul of Elokus into the world, you bring a purity to the creation, which is above it altogether. Kanal Baruch. And the Rebbe calls this Keser Teira. Now these words Keser Teira were mentioned in the previous Maimid, in Bishar Shekdimu Tafshin Yigimel, which was 2 days before this. This is the Maimid of Matzah Shavuos. And that was the Maimid of Leil Aleph de Shavuos. The idea of Keser Teira. And of course, Keser Teira is above the two Keserim which we got. We got the Keser of Nasa and the Keser of Nishma. And the Keser of Akdamas Nasa and Nishma, the Eibishter keeps. And the Keser of Akdamas Nasa and Nishma has to do with Bittul Abala Rotzen, infinity, beligavul. And it's a Keli for the Avoid of Keser. Remember the whole thing, the Avoid of Keser and the Gili of Keser, which is in a Bittul B'Mitzias. Therefore, in order to receive Keser Teira, which is the idea of bringing believable into the world, the preparation has to be in kind. Hakdamas Nasal Nishma, because that's also Bittul Abala Ratzin. In other words, in Avoid, Hakdamas Nasal Nishma is the Avoid equivalent of bringing believable into the world, which is Keser Shebenefesh. Again, this is Mamish Eisias from the last Maimon, like I told you in the beginning of this Maimon. It's hard to call this Maimon a Hemshech, but it's also hard to ignore the ideas that seem to be carrying over from 2 Maimorim ago and from the last Maimon. The Nishma, when Yidden said Nasa before Nishma, they were Magala in themselves. A Bittul Abala Ratzin, therefore Kashu Lahem Beis Ksarim, they got 2 crowns. And the third crown, the Eibush keeps out. They are Veda B'chinas Keser Shebenefesh, B'chinas Keser Teira, which is Dibur de Teira. What is Keser Teira? Words. Hestamaise Keser Zesius. The beligvul of Teira, Keser Teira, is in words, as we explained at length in this Maimon. Okay, now the Rabbi said today is Erev Gimel Tammuz. So I'm telling you now, 6 o'clock, I'm planning. I'm going to the oil today. So if I'm back and I'm able, 6 o'clock, I'm going to give a shir, the last part of the V'yatat Saba Maimon, which I started a week ago Monday, Mitzvah Hashem. The Fabrengen is officially after Ma'ariv, but we're going to start 8 o'clock. Yeshiva starting, it's going to be on Zoom, it's also going to be up here 8 o'clock. We're going to start the Fabreng with the Chazor of the Maimon, as is the custom. And then we're going to interrupt for Ma'ariv, and then we're going to come back after Ma'ariv and continue. Tomorrow I'm actually going to 770. I'm hoping, I'm going to try to Facebook this class, to put this class on live. I can't promise it's going to work, but I'm going to try. This is my first day back of 770 after the beginning of the quarantine. So this is a chidush, a gilui. We're going to try to make it work, Mitzvah Hashem. If I'm teaching in 770 and I'm able, all the classes that I'm going to be giving in 770 are going to be broadcast live here at Beis Medrash, inside Chassidus.org. The classes from Beis Medrash L'Noshim Ubana 770 under the Hanhol of Ariel Ben Chayun will be broadcast here at inside Chassidus.org. That's the plan. Tomorrow night I'm going to be giving a Farbrengen in Borough Park. I don't think that class is going to be available on video, online. I should give another class tomorrow at some point during the day, but it's very difficult for me to know when that'll be. So, 6 o'clock today is Vata Tetzave, 8 o'clock today is the beginning of a Fabreng, which will continue after Maidif tonight. Okay, Hatzlocha Dik and Gimel Tamez, we want Mashiach now, Lamata Masada Tvachim, now Mamish.